Hi friends, I hope you guys are doing well. In this video, I wanted to share the shifts I've been doing to have more peace of mind because I went to a workshop the other day with my mentor and she was asking all of us what's one thing we really want. And everyone was saying like their dream job, their dream relationship, and like my gut screams peace of mind. And so I kind of want to roll with that and just share what I've been doing. And yeah, so the first change that I've actually made in order to have more peace of mind is making sure I have a grounding morning routine. And I have done both. I've had phases in my life where the first thing I do is I grab my phone and I scroll and I check my emails and I answer other people, I check my messages, and I have days where, I do my grounding morning routine and they're a night and day difference. And so essentially what I do when I wake up is I take a cold shower and then I just brain dump. So I write down every single thing from the past day that's still on my mind and still kind of bothering me and essentially leads me to feel like my mind is clear. And then I do a breath work session and I just jump right into meditation. And the thing I've noticed with this is it helps me just maintain a more grounded state throughout the rest of the day because I really do think like the first hour of the day we're so impressionable. Like for me, like when I start the day really grounded, I'm most likely going to maintain that energy throughout the day. But if I start the day scattered and tuning to other people, it's very difficult for me to stay centered and grounded within myself. So that's one change I've been doing. And the second change I've been doing, and this is more like, I guess, a mindset shift, is changing the meaning behind certain events. So sometimes we can have like certain patterns that, we kind of repeat stories that are disempowering. And I've talked about this with self image, but I noticed within myself when certain things would happen, I naturally would resort into kind of adopting a more heavier belief about that. Like, for example, getting a rejected from a job or someone not answering a text back, and just little things like that. I would just make the habit of going back to a default thought pattern of, like unworthiness. And so, what I started to do is essentially catch those patterns and actively reframe them. And I know it sounds like a really small change, but if you do it for a very long time, you'll start to realize you think and view life in a completely different perception. The third change that I've been doing that has really been helping me so much is just really being mindful as to what I'm tuning into. And I feel like this is something that everybody says, but I promise once I actually changed this one habit, I noticed a night and day difference because I actually used to just listen to whoever I wanted to. So there was like last year a feminine energy trend and they were talking about like soft girl lifestyle, and I was in a really hard season of my life. And when I was seeing all this content of people just chilling at home, just having someone pay all their bills, it was kind of making me feel like I was doing life wrong, even though I don't even think internally that was my desire. But just because I was constantly surrounding myself with like feminine energy influencers who were talking about you're not supposed to be working a job, it's a bad thing to work a job. And maybe that just could be me being not grounded, but I just felt like I started to adopt those thought patterns. And when I kind of took a step back, I realized like I actually really like, having a sense of purpose in my life. I like being in the flow. Like personally, these things do give me a lot of fulfillment. And to other people, we're each different. So we each have our own desires and things that we want out of our life. But sometimes you won't, for me personally, as a very empathic person, I have to be very mindful to what I'm tuning into because if it's not really in alignment with my true self, it's not going to really help me evolve into a version I want to be. But if I'm like, for example, if I'm listening to some like a podcast like Jay Shetty, that is going to help me evolve into a better version of myself, and it's also going to tune into maybe my current desires but to in even expanded ways. So it will tune into my desire of wanting a sense of purpose even more, and it'll make me really be more service oriented because they're already at that state. The fourth change that I've actually been doing, and this is so deep and I promise it's super life changing, is memorizing your current desires. And there's a Rumi quote that's so, what is it? I think it's called, "What you seek is seeking you." And I was watching this other video, and this guy was basically saying that it was misinterpreted. It meant what you are seeking is already within you. And I 100% agree with that because every single time I asked myself what I was desiring, there was always like a deeper thing that I was actually wanting from within myself. And I'm not saying it's bad to necessarily have desires, but desire is it's kind of a lower frequency. It's a state of lack. And, feeling the feeling of already having that thing is a state of wholeness. It's telling you, or you already have everything within you. And I'll give a personal example. For me, I would not understand why, like, in slower seasons of my life when I wasn't as productive, I would notice I wouldn't feel as self assured and I would start to feel a little bit underconfident. And I realized it was because my sense of self worth was heavily tied to my productivity. And so once I realized I wasn't really craving, necessarily an extreme amount of success and accomplishments, it was more like I was wanting a deeper sense of self worth. So the emotion I was actually wanting, that I was kind of, you know, pinning as me wanting this desire, was self-worth. And we all know this. For example, if you think I'll be happy when I have this and you have that thing, 6 months down the line you completely forget about that thing and you don't really value that thing, because our soul is constantly wanting to expand and grow. And just knowing this, you can kind of, I guess, alleviate the discomfort of when you're working towards something and just kind of having that state of, I already have this thing. I already have this feeling within me. I am whole already. And personally, for me, it's been quite a life-changing thing that I've been doing. Also, this last point, it kind of adds into what I'm saying, because when I really wanted a sense of purpose last year, I kind of felt really stuck and aimless in my life. And so obviously, wherever you put your attention, energy is going to flow to that aspect. And I was constantly kind of reinforcing the idea that I felt kind of stuck. I felt aimless. I felt like I wasn't doing something to help other people. And I just kept reinforcing that and reinforcing that. So every single day, that emotion was quite amplified, because all of my attention was on the fact that I felt like I wasn't really in alignment with my purpose. And I was just hyper fixating on that. And so then I asked myself, what would I want to feel? Well, I wanted to feel a strong sense of purpose. I wanted to feel a strong sense of passion. So my focus was obviously in the wrong place. So how in my current life can I add more passion? How in my current life can I have more purpose? So even it is, I was a nanny at the time, I could, be the best nanny. Or now that I'm a nurse, I can be the best nurse. And adding on and expanding to every season. Because for me personally, I don't know my grand purpose. I don't know if everybody else does, but personally, I have no idea what my grand purpose is. But instead of ruminating on the lack, just kind of expanding on what you currently have. That personally has really helped me with my peace of mind. And yeah,